Hi everyone and welcome to this week's WARNO Dev Blog. It's been posted a little bit later than usual, so everything is running a little bit later as a result. The patch notes will also be at the end of this video, so feel free to skip to that if you don't want to just listen to the dev blog itself. So, the milestone is called Lefebvre. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I did look it up online, but we'll see how that pans out. So, obviously, we're getting some new bits and pieces, new models, new divisions, but let's go for the historical background first, as always. So the latest marshal wasn't initially a regular one. When Napoleon restored the dignity of being a marshal, he granted it to 18 active Genroux de divisions. The same honorary rank he also bestowed on 4 older inactive generals who were commanders-in-chief during the Revolutionary Wars, and Francis Joseph Lefebvre was one of the latter. With Napoleon's new rank, he was also made a senator for life, with his old warrior commanders now benefiting from a precious golden retirement, napping on the mostly useless French Senate benches. Now, born in the mid-18th century, Lefebvre was enlisted in 1773 and risen to the rank of sergeant, which was the best a low-born commoner could achieve, by the time of the French Revolution in 1789. He was popular among his men in the period of the haphazardly organised revolutionary armies. He then quickly made general. Wounded in 1799, Lefebvre resigned from active service, holding only territorial commands, including being the military governor of Paris. In this capacity, he played a vital role during the bloodless coup d'etat that brought Napoleon to power and ended the French Revolution, which almost didn't succeed during the so-called coup of the 18th Brumaire. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing that right. In 1799, Lefebvre saved Napoleon and his brothers when they were about to be outlawed as the coup started to go awry, restoring order in the process and ensuring Napoleon ousted the revolutionary politicians. A born leader is the next subheading. Lefebvre was rewarded for his support by Napoleon, but instead of retiring, he returned to active service. The old commander was kept in the rear, training and organising new levies, but Napoleon entrusted him with a campaign posting in 1806, giving him command of the Old Guard infantry, a prestigious position, but with no real initiative, as the Guard was only sent into combat by Napoleon himself. Like many Napoleonic marshals, a troop corps command exceeded Lefebvre's capabilities. Despite his military shortcomings, he and his wife were adored by Napoleon, thanks to the commander's good nature and his wife's rather colourful character. So an interesting companion is the next little subheading, and this is all about Lefebvre's wife, Catherine Hubertscher, I think German by the sound of it. So Lefebvre's wife went on to achieve a greater prosperity than her husband. While few remember the origin of the turn of phrase, in France to this day she is known as Madame Sans Gênes, which means Lady Shameless or Lady Brazenness, for her outspokenness, combining her modest upbringing with her very sharp wit. She was interestingly an illiterate laundrywoman when she married Lefebvre. She was a sharp contrast with the imperial court, who likewise came from a very humble upbringing. Thanks to the Revolution and Napoleon's connection, she became part of the nobility, but she never forgot her origins. Her plain language, Germanic accent, and directness resulted in no fans with the old nobility, who despised her. An unexpected ally was Napoleon himself, who grew fond of her frankness, even when it was directed at him. He created new imperial nobility, with the Lefebvre couple being one of the first elevated to a ducal status, an obvious message to the rest of the court. Lefebvre remained with Napoleon until the end of 1814, when all was lost, and he also rallied to Napoleon when he briefly returned in 1815, but too old and too popular to be punished after the ultimate downfall, he was left in retirement until his death in 1820. His wife survived him by 12 years. So what else is there going on in this milestone? Well, there are the 2 new divisions, the 11th Armoured Cavalry Regiment and the 119th Independent Tank Regiment. They are all covered everywhere by me, by Protoss, by everybody else. You can see it on the live streams, you can see it on the videos, you can see it in last week's dev blog, so I'm not going to go through all of the details on those 2 new battle groups again, but we shall move on and talk about the new Gotterdammerung operation. So next to the new battle groups, the milestone will also see a release of the operation, the East German-focused Gotterdammerung. The National Volksarmy found itself in a bit of a pickle after a failed advance along the Bundesstraße 22 in the southern flank of the Warsaw Pact invasion. Having recently captured the Bavarian Bamberg in the US 7th Corps sector, the East German 11th Motsuchen Division had been turned back near Erbach and was now in a serious chance of being overrun by the American and West German forces. The Motsuchen Regiment 17 is, I think that should be dispatched to secure the valley of Stegerauch on the approach to Bamberg. They must protect it at all costs while the parent division prepares to protect the city. It's death or glory for you. The operation itself is a defense scenario, with the East Germans being able to deploy and hold several outlying sectors at the start. This part of the battlefield is plain and open, with small hamlets and forests. However, if you lose control of these sectors, they are permanently lost. Furthermore, these zones give you valuable income points. The last sector is an entrance to the valley itself, which can be reinforced more easily thanks to the constricted terrain and wooden hills. However, if NATO manages to take hold of this sector, the operation is over. Make good use of your forces, your income, and your defensive positions is key in holding out long enough for the National Volksarmee in Gotterdammerung. The last thing they really mention here is the T80 rework. Obviously, there has been new models for the T80 and the T80BV. We had a look at them on stream yesterday, but I'll stick up the screenshot they've given us as well. And also bear in mind that there is a new version of the T80BV, the IZD29, which has been added to the 79th Guards Tank Division. This is also a slightly different model to the other BV, as it has like a skirt on the front. And that's everything for this week's dev blog. Obviously, please stay tuned. The patch notes will now roll on from here. But thanks for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Let's have a quick look through them anyway, because they're pretty short, so I think it's reasonable to go through them and discuss at least one of them in a bit more detail. So, tutorials have corrected a error in the deployment tutorial. Obviously, they've added Gotterdammerung, the new operation. I played it yesterday on stream. Give it a go, see what you think. I quite enjoyed it. A little bit draggy, maybe. It felt longer than it was. So, various code fixes, so fixed display of transparent infantry, fixed display of unit carcasses when they were destroyed being in their selection. So basically, they were like highlighted. That was an issue I was having. Fixed some weapons getting stuck in reloading. That was happening quite a bit to some of the 1v1 guys. Aircraft progress display bar was having issues, so that's fixed, hopefully. Fixed crash that could occur when pressing the resell button on a unit while self-reselling was taking place. That's confusing. I never had that happen to me, but yeah. Fixed a rare case in multiplayer where planes would get stuck in transit. Fixed traits that could activate when deploying a unit that was not actually on the map yet. Increased threshold to pass stun. So I think, does that mean that getting stun takes longer now? I think. Helicopter crash survivors receive a lot of stress, so basically now when they are damaged and land, they shouldn't be immediately able to turn around and destroy everything around them. Fix a bug that sometimes displayed a black square on the map with the FX. I've been getting that from time to time, so nice to see that's being fixed. Vehicle smoke is fired from front arc only. There's some debate as to whether that's actually working properly yet, so try that out yourself. The idea is that the smoke fires forward, but the vehicle is still susceptible from the sides. You know, it's not a perfect smoke. Fixed a bug where enemy planes triggered a shock line from ground units. Correction of a bug which made it possible to activate a line with unit ghost, not yet on the map. I'm not entirely sure what that one's about, but at least they fixed it. Obviously the two new divisions, the 119th and the 11th. So we looked at them on stream yesterday. I put a video up of the 11th. I'll put a video up of the 119th as well, now that we have the final patch notes, and we can talk about it a bit more, because they haven't changed what I thought they might change this morning. I thought they were going to make maybe some last minute changes, but I don't think they have. So, generic things. Shock capacity now has an icon and inflict 50% more damage on the enemy. My understanding is that 50% applies to every weapon that they have. So, flame weapons, satchel charges, anti-tank, everything. Absolutely everything. Shock are now incredible. I thought they were going to edit that out, but I assume they've left it in because it's in the patch notes here. I genuinely thought they were going to adjust that, but because that is a huge, huge, huge boost to damage for shock units. I mean, incredibly so. And the fact it applies to all weapons, it appears, is, yeah, that is massive. We might see that fixed in a hot fix. I don't know it'll stay like that, but we'll see. Shock and IFV capability radius have been updated to around 300 meters in game. The GBU-27 and CAB 1500 KR weapons icons have been added. Adding a timer to the score bar, which indicates the remaining time before a player is, saves or wins or is lost. So that's quite nice. It's the same they had in Steel Division 2. So rather than you having to try and calculate in your head, and it really helps me for casting, because I sit there casting and I'm trying to calculate at one point, every 1.5 seconds, how many seconds does it take to get to 2000? You know, it's very nice to have a timer, so I'm glad they've added that. NATO, they fixed the Roland 3 price error, so it's now 135 points for everyone. Increased the Marder 182 Milan speed from 59 to 63, on par with the vanilla Marder 182. Packed side, they've increased the SU24M Cluster 2's price from 230 to 260. The ZIS2 Canon icon added. Added an IV trait to the Lefebvre BMP and the Aufkohl BMP one. Increased the SU25 cluster from 170 to 190. Ooh, nasty. I suppose it does need to go up in price. They are very good, the SU25 still. Decreased the AMX 13/90 from 65 to 60. More buffs for the French, obviously. Decreased the SPW 40 P2 Conquest price from 85 to 75, on par with the Soviet counterpart. Correcting the 2S3 gun's name from the 2A36 to the 2A33. Military buffs will get that. One means nothing to me. Increasing the 2S3 Actasia's number of ammo from 29 to 45. That's a big increase. 79th GTD, so the 79th Tank Division, removed the SU-24M cluster from the division, added the SU-24M cluster 2, removed the T-62M1 from the division, removed all T-80U and T-80UDs from the division, added the new T-80BV IZD-29, a faster version of the T-80BV with a better ATGM, and increased the T-80BV base availability from 4 to 6, on par with the T-80BV. Oh, they're calling it the T-80BV Beast, the new version, I think. So that's why they're calling it Beast there. I think they just mean the IZD-29 version, so the slightly faster version. And the 3rd Armoured have had the LRS removed because they've been moved to the 11th, basically. So there you go. Thanks for watching all. I will see you all later.